Welcome to Khel Now TV's Indian Super League 2021-2022 Tactical Profile Series. Today, we will take a look at how SC East Bengal could possibly set up under their new head coach, Jose Manolo Diaz. Although a century-old club, SC East Bengal only made their ISL debut last season, but their debut season didn't go according to plan as Ravi Flower side finished 9th in the Indian Super League stage table, winning only 3 games out of 20 games. But you have to give some kind of credit to that East Bengal side, considering they finished above Odisha FC and Kerala Blaster FC. Both the clubs have an ideal preparation, unlike the SC East Bengal, which things got decided at the last moment. So I think they will hope that this season will be a bit better for them, considering they have done a bit more better preparation than last season. But I still feel with the dark cloud over their future. Still, there is no confirmation of Series Cement continuing for the next season. There are reports and rumors of new sponsor coming for the next season. So still, that will, kind of, players are not sure, will they continue or not, considering that there are not many players who were there last season now there. So I think they need to sort out their future first. On-field performance will eventually improve because the kind of foreigners and the coaches they have signed, they are the good quality coaches, good quality foreigners. Manuel Diaz replaced Ravi Flower as the head coach of SC East Bengal. Manuel Diaz, throughout his life, has coached in Spain, and he started his career with Real Madrid as a youth coach. I think was involved in the development of their important players throughout the year. Also, before coming to East Bengal, he was the head coach of Hercules CF in the 4th division of Spain. So, typical Spanish coach, but he likes to play 4-4-2 flat or 4-4-2 diamond. And we already seen those preseason friendly lineups. Most of the time is 4-4-2 diamond or 4-4-2 flat. So I think I'm looking forward to how he's going to deploy his team. I know the overall squad. We will see the full squad very soon, and then you will know that what kind of strength and weakness they have in terms of the squad. So let's talk about their full squad now. So talking about the full squad, they have completely kind of overhauled the squad, in terms of foreigners, in terms of the Indian players, in terms of the coaching staff. First look, I will say this squad may be better than last season for sure, especially the Indian players are signing off somebody like Adil Khan, signing off Amarjeet Singh, Arindam Bhattacharya, regular professional at the top level in India. So these 3 players will kind of occupy those 3 important positions for them. In talking about the foreigners, they have completely revamped their foreign department also. Something like they have signed 2 centre back, Masela and Frenjo Price. Then 2 midfielders. One is defensive, Darren Sediol. One is more advanced midfielder, Amir Dervisevic, and then they have signed 2 attacker, Antonio Perasovic and Daniel Chima. I think overall decent profile in terms of foreigners. Especially, I'm looking forward. My favorite foreign player in this East Bengal side is a midfielder, Amir Dervisevic. I think I really like his profile. I was watching some of his game. Looks like a good one of can be one of the better foreigners in complete league, not just in East Bengal side. So looking forward to how East Bengal is going to use him in 6-8, which role they're going to decide. In terms of Indian player, they of course signed Adil Khan on loan from Hyderabad. They of course signed ISL winner Arindam Bhattacharya from their rivals ATK Mohun Bagan, and I think that signing was very important for them. Then signed somebody like Amarjeet Kiam from FC Goa, who played ISL, who played for India at top level. So these 3 important players coming to East Bengal has helped them to make a good core of these other Indian players. Of course, they have chip-in players like other players who came into the team. So I'm like Haukev as a centre forward is a good signing for them. They have retained kind of Balwant Singh. JJ they have not retained as of now. So I think overall, then signing of Hira Mondal from Mohammedan Sporting is a good signing again, because these are the Hira Mondal plays a left back, right back are the department where they are a bit weak in terms of the depth. Talking about who went out, I think they have all the foreigners have left the club, and they also released the majority of their domestic signing, only retaining 9 of those. And also you have to see that Narayan Das, Division Majumdar joined Chennai FC, and of course foreigners they left. You have to see that if club future is in doubt, player will not renew your contract, so they have to make sure before this season ends, they need to make sure their future for next season is sorted so that they can retain the good Indian players from the squad, even the foreigners. So that's their squad. Now let's talk about the key addition in the East Bengal squad. Talking about key addition, I think signing of last season Golden Glove winner Arindam Bhattacharya from HK Mohun Bagan, I think what was the most important signing they have done this season, even if you compare with the foreigners, because having one good goalkeepers help you a lot. If your goalkeeper is stable, you can trust him, then you can, he can make sure that you concede less goals. Last season, he kept 10 clean sheet, which is equal to Aminder Singh at Mumbai City FC, but only conceded 19 goal, which was the lowest in the league, and had a 75.64 saving percentage, which means out of, say, if he's facing 10 goals, 10 shots on the goal, out of those are nearly 7.5 shots, he has saved those shots. So I think Arindam Bhattacharya signing from HK Mohun Bagan has made them, very kind of a stable in terms of the defense, because they have a local lad who understand what it's need to play for these big clubs like East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. So I think one of the most important signing, as I've said. Second in the list is Jackie Chand Singh, which they have signed from Mumbai City FC on loan. Again, considering the coach, he likes to play 4-4-2 flat and sometimes diamond, and maybe play 4-2-3-1 sometime. Jackie Singh signing means they already have not many wingers in this team. So Jackie Chand Singh obviously became first choice in either of the wing. I think we mostly like to play from right wing. So I think his signing will help East Bengal to play those different tactical system. Talking about Jackie Chand numbers, his 2018-19 season, he has played 64 games, 10 goals, 11 assists, created 37 chances, expected goals of 9, expected assists of 8, so which is decent overall, and net XJ of 10, which means the sides he have played for, they dominated the games, had a positive goal difference. Talking about passes per 90 minutes, which is 28 passes per 90 minutes, out of which 71% successful. I think this is very low, and I'm not sure how the new head coach, Diaz, will use him, because as a Spanish, he will like his wingers to keep a ball more, pass safely. But let's see, I think will Jackie Chand able to improve these figures? 28 passes per 90 minutes is very less. Dribbles per 90 minutes, 3.7 dribble he attempts per 90 minutes, out of which 43% were successful. Last player in the list is Tomislav Masela, the Australian centre back. Is a key. Was last season East Bengal conceded lots of goals. They conceded 33 goals, which was third highest in the league. Masela has experience of playing, in Australian top flight, in Croatia, and of course he's 6'4" tall, which means that he will be threat in the attacking set pieces and will help East Bengal to defend those set pieces better. As I said, he attacking threat. He has scored 14 goals in career, which tells you that he can score those goals from corners and the free kicks. From 18-19 season, again he has played 33 games, scored 3 goals, provided 1 assist per 90 minutes. He have attempted 46 passes, 89%. Decent for a centre back. I think usually centre back have 50 to 60 passes per 90 minutes, but passing successful rate is good. Defensive challenge per 90s, he attempts 8 challenges, out of which 72% were successful, I think, which is a decent figure. Aerial challenges per 90 minutes, 5.2, 72% successful rate. Ball interception per 90 minutes, 7. So we tell you overall he's a very great defender because he's tall. Pace wise, he's not a pacey defender. So I think I'm looking forward to see which centre back the coach prefers. The other centre back they have signed, Fencho Price, is also a foreign centre back, and he's a left-footed guy. Considering they have Adil Khan who might play the centre back, I am saying that it maybe a coin of toss. He will decide between Masela and Fencho Price, but let's see that who will pick. Now let's talk about the key exclusion which East Bengal has done for this upcoming season. Top of the list is Bright Bakir. I think his performance last season inspired East Bengal to get some important points. Especially, and that's the reason they finished 9th, not 11th. I think overall his ability on the ball, and he was just 23-year-old, and scored kind of 3 goals in 12 matches, but his ability to bring that ball from defense to midfield or to attack was a great asset for Robbie Flower's side last season. And also have a great pace also. Considering that they have replaced him with Daniel Chima and the forward, they are not like Bright for sure. Bright has signed in club in England. Now he's released by by that same club. Will he back in India in January window? It looks like that there will be some suitors, and depending on injuries and everything, we might see him back, but East Bengal fans will surely miss him. Another exclusion is Sarthak Golai. I think I was surprised because they had some kind of arrangement with him to continue at East Bengal, but again, that to decide their future with their sponsors so late, which means that player will not wait for you for that long. Sarthak Golai was roped in by Bengaluru FC. So, but what I was told, Bengaluru, East Bengal had an arrangement or a situation, or you can say a clause with him too, where he could have continued with the club. So it's going to be interesting to see, that how they cope up with because they have someone like Raju Gaikwad in the team, but not Sarthak Golai. So that tell you that they need to, again I'm saying, they need to sort their future out soon so that they don't miss their top Indian players for the next season. Third player, again another player who moved from East Bengal to SC East Bengal to Bengaluru FC is Harmanpreet Singh. Same reason, I think he was a good asset for the East Bengal, and recently we saw that what he has done in the Durand Cup for Bengaluru FC. He's a great talent. It's looking like last season he just played 7 games, but I think he could have done better. He's still a young player, so we have seen that young players need some time, and let's see that how he does with the Bengaluru FC. Currently he is having a leg injury, but I think once he's back, he will be part of the Bengaluru FC first team plan. But I think East Bengal could have done, could have retained him, used him, because unlike Bengaluru FC, they don't have much depth in their Indian squad. Manuel Diaz likes to play 4-4-2 diamond and 4-4-2 flat sometime. I think he will mix it up, both the formation. So I picked up one which personally I feel will suit them better, considering the quality of wingers. It's not same like other teams. They just have, can say, Jackie Singh as a one winger, and maybe they can play somebody like Perosevic on a left wing, who he has done in his career. Other than that, they don't have enough depth on those wings. You have Bikash Jairu and Mahesh Norem, these kind of players. They are not top quality wingers in India. So I personally feel they should play 4-4-2 diamond. And 4-4-2 diamond I have picked Arindam Bhattacharya. As I said, Marcela could have played. I have played Fanjo Farais just because he's left-footed. He has a good CV, but he also left-footed centre back, which help you to balance out your distribution from back. Also, Hira Mondal is their kind of only choice as a left back. Right back is a department where also they are struggling. Ankit Mukherjee has played one pre-season game. Then Raju Gaikwad has played that right back role. Raju Gaikwad last used to play as a right back in his under 23 days for India. So that's the two departments where they might struggle. Hira Mondal is the quality addition to the side. He has done very well with Mohammedan Sporting. Adil Khan is natural choice as a centre back, and in midfield they have some options. I picked Saurav Das at the base of the diamond, with Amarjeet Singh on the right hand side of the diamond, and Luang he's another number 6 they have on the left side of the diamond. And up front, on the tip of the diamond, I have picked Derevesevic. Up front, of course, you have Daniel Chima and Perosevic. So I think this is a great team overall 11 wise, but of course the depth issue is might hurt them. So let's see that how they will play, especially when defending. The centre back will drop deep alongside your fullback Hira Mondal and Ankit Mukherjee. So once they regain the ball position, they will like to play quickly to somebody like Luang and Saurav Das, which might give their wide players like Hira Mondal as a left back, who can score and provide assist from the left back position. Ankit Mukherjee to stretch them, and then of course you have Perosevic, who likes to play from the left channel. He has played his career as a left midfielder, left winger, and a centre forward, but I think he will occupy that left channel, and Daniel Chima will occupy the right channel. And then you will see them, Luang and any midfielder using. I think main man in this team is personally number 21, Derevesevic, and his performance will define East Bengal fate for this season, I personally feel. And Derevesevic has all the ability in him, which we'll talk about his numbers in the later part when we talk about the key players to watch out for, to use. And technically he's very sound. He can play the 6 also, by the way. Has played in career 6, 8, 10, all three position. So, and that's a diamond. There is no number 10. It's like advanced midfielder in the diamond, then they were wide. So I think I personally will use him on the tip of that midfield, and use like somebody like Hira Mondal, and as an outlet on left. And then Amarjeet Singh Kiam, I've seen him doing it on the right side space on the midfield to go on the box, arrive late and put those crosses whenever he can. In the meantime, Ankit Mukherjee will stay back to defend whenever they counter attack. Hira Mandal can put those ball on the box for Daniel Chima. Is a great threat on air also. Perasovic and also Derasevic, who are arriving late. And then of course Amarjit Singh Kiam will also join them on attack. I am not seeing Saurav Das and Luang doing much of the attacking work for them. They're staying back, compact with the centre back, both the centre back, and defending on those counter threats. And in the meantime, only issue with Diamond is always the width on the wing. That's with every Diamond. But if you are trained, you train your team properly, you can make sure that the circle that which I have circle out those spaces that the fullback goes back there, and then your say Luang and Saurav Das kind of stretch and cover those fullback spaces. That is possible, but you need lots of training time, and I personally feel that they don't have enough right now. It's not easy to implement 4-4-2 Diamond with modern football now, where most of the team will play with the wingers and then you have to defend also. So both the side of the pitch, they might face difficulties attack wise while attacking on the wings, using that empty space on the wing, and while defending also when there is an overlap from the opponent full back or a wing back with their winger. They might face some situation with a right back or left back. Sometime will be 1 versus 2 situation, and that is dangerous situation. So I think to counter out, they can play 4-4-2 flat also, and I will not surprised that in a similar lineup, if they play 4-4-2 flat, remove somebody like Luang or say Saurav Das, for example, or use Saurav Das or Derasevic. As said, he played at number 6 also. So put 2 midfielders and then put somebody like Jackie Chan Singh and one more winger on the left. Somebody like Bikash Jairu can come in, and then put 2 centre forward up front. So I think they have options. 4-4-2 flat might be the way, but they don't have enough depth on the wingers department. That's why personally I picked 4-4-2 Diamond. It can be used in an effective way. Another way for them is which they can do is 4-2-3-1, which might rectify the deficiency of the 4-4-2 Diamond formation, because in this I have picked up someone like Perasovic. As said, he can play on the wing as a left winger or left midfielder. Jackie Chan Singh come in the team on the right winger. Up front you have Daniel Chima. Luang and Amarjit Singh Kiam has picked as a 2 number 6 on the pivot, and number 10 I have picked Derasevic, and back remains same. You can rotate those back. You can put Masela also as a centre back sometime. Mukherjee or Rajwekar as the right back. Hira Mandal, I think, looks like he's going to start most of the game. So 4-2-3-1 triangle, you can see the movement from Perasovic and Derasovic, and whenever they regain that ball, they will try to play Luang something like very quickly, and then Luang has a good passing range. He can find Derasevic on the space, and in the meantime the fullback will bomb forward, but you will have somebody like Jackie Chan Singh occupy that right wing. Jackie Chan Singh don't like to come inside. He wants to hung on the touch line to put those crosses for the centre forward, and then you will see Perasovic and Derasovic both creating those movement spaces, and Derasovic carrying that ball from midfield to the attack, and then also using Jackie Chan Singh in this case as outlet, and then joining the attack on the box alongside Perasovic and Daniel Chima. So all those 3 good foreigners who can score goals using their experience, and and then you can see the situation in this the blocks. You can see Price, Adil Khan in back, then you have Luang, Amarjit Singh Kiam, Jackie Chan Singh, Mukherjee on a similar block, because Jackie Chan Singh likes to play on that right hand side of the box, and then you have Hira Mandal on top to provide the width. In box we have 3 foreigners, so we will hope those 3 foreigners can score goals for you. I think that's the way for them, if you ask me. 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, and it will be interesting to see which 4-4-2 the coach use. Will he go for diamond or he go for a flat? Flat, I personally feel, will not suit them, considering they don't have those quality of fingers to play. Of course, you can say they can put Perasovic on a wing on a 4-4-2, but that's a different winger role compared to 4-2-3-1, because you need to also defend a lot while playing those 4-4-2, because you just have 2 midfielders in between to cover for spaces. Now, let's talk about key players to watch out for. Any team in the world, your centre forward should be your key players to watch out for. And I have picked Daniel Chima as my first choice first pick in this key players to watch out for series for East Bengal. In his 5th season with the Norwegian club Molde FK, Daniel Chivia has won domestic title 3 times and also has won the cup twice, which shows that he's a kind of a winner. All between 2011 to 2014, which is nearly 7-8 years ago now from now. And 3 of them came under Manchester United current manager Ole. So also he has scored 50 goals and assisted 27 times in 162 matches for Molde, which is a great record. Norwegian division is a good level of football we have seen. We know about it while Gurpreet was there. I had talked to Gurpreet multiple times about the quality of football. And he also played in Chinese 2nd division, for multiple clubs. Chima is a proven goal scorer. There is no doubt about his ability to score goals and experience to play in the top leagues. Even he's played in Europa League as well as the Champions League qualifier. Will help these young players to learn from him. If Chima finds his scoring boards, I think you will see East Bengal challenging for those mid-table spaces, not only 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. You might see them 5th, 6th, 7th places, and when you in around those positions in the table, you never know, couple of matches here and there and you might be in the playoff race. Talking about his numbers, we know about his historical numbers, what he's done for Molde since from 2018, because of course he was in Norway, so season works differently compared to the other part of the world. It's throughout the calendar year instead of 18-19. It start in Jan and finish in kind of end of the year. It doesn't carry forward to the different season. He played 57 games, scored 25 goals, 7 assists, which is 31 goal and assists, 57 goals. Not bad. Expected goals around 23, which tells you 2 less than his actual goal. Tell you that it's a good finisher. And expected assist around 7 and he got 7 assists. That's a perfectly balanced there. Net expected goals around 15, which tell you that his team has done well, whichever games he have played. Now, it's important stat per 90 minutes to give you an idea that what kind of player he is. And this is not from historical data. This is from 2018 only. This is recent numbers. Goals per assist per 90 minutes is 0.68, which is not bad if you ask me. That means nearly a goal every 120-130 minutes. Not a bad, and that's a top level in Europe or China. I think he will find ISL bit easier compared to the level he was playing. Per 90 minutes, he take around 2.5 shots. Per 90 minutes, he attempts just 18 passes, 75% was successful. But as a centre forward, you are not looking a centre forward to make lots of passes. You want them to have even just one touch. And that one touch should be the goal scoring touch. So I think that's centre forward passing percentage. Sometime depends on system, but for 4-2, I think he will do good. Dribbles per 90 minutes, 2.9 he attempts, out of which 45% successful. Considering most of the time they're playing facing 2 defenders at a time, that's a good number for a number 9. I think Daniel Chima alongside Derasevic are the 2 foreigners who both of them is going to decide what kind of performance East Bengal give this season. And that's why second player on my list is Amir Derasevic. I really like his profile. I was going through some games he has played, and to my surprise, he has provided attacking return from number 6 position. He has a lots of experience to play in Slovenia, and he at the top league for several years, and also played in the Champions League and also played in Europa League qualifiers during his time is NK Maribor. I think he's someone who can play as a 6, he can play as a 8, he can play as a number 10, and he has those partnerships throughout his career with the centre forwards, which is, I'm going to tell you his number. On CV is defensive midfield, by the way. If you open any website, I think most of the website list him the defensive midfielder, and he has played as a defensive midfielder. Irrespective of that, he likes to bomb forward whenever given chances. So which tells you numbers since 18-19 season, he has played 99 games. That's lots of games in 3 seasons, and that's telling you that he remains fit throughout the season if managed properly. Scored 13 goals, provided 22 assists. That's good number if you ask me. 35 goals and assists in 99 games. These numbers are better than the playmakers who have signed for the ISL team. So he is not naturally a playmaker, but it is interesting to see that how the coach is going to use him. The expected goal is just 8 goals, 5 less than his actual goals. Tell you that he's also a brilliant finisher. Expected assist is 17, so which also tell you that he has played with amazing finisher throughout his career. And another net XG I was talking about for Daniel Chima was 15. For him is 36. So the teams he has played for, they have dominated those games. Again, he also created 70 chances on those 99 games. So nearly not a one chance per game, but nearly a one chance every 1.2 1.3 game for him. Now let's talk about per 90 minute what he does. Per 90 minute he attempts 75 passes. That's lots of passes. We have seen other midfielders in the range of 50s and 60s, out of which 83% was successful. That tell you that Manuel Diaz will love him, and looks like that this is his signing, telling club that what kind of midfielder he need, who can retain the ball, who can also score goals, because Spanish coaches like midfielders who can score goals but who can also control the tempo. Talking about attacking challenges, he as a defensive midfielder, his attacking challenges per 90 minutes 3.8, and out of which 71% was successful. He also attempted 1.1 dribble per 90 minutes, out of which 68% was successful. And it's not just his attacking numbers are good, his defensive numbers are also good. Per 90 minutes attempt 2.7 tackles, out of which 5.52% was successful. Per 90 minutes he also do 5.6 ball interception, which is very high if you ask me. I think these two players are very, very important for them. I think they're going to decide that where East Bengal is going to finish in this table. Third key player to watch out for my list is Hira Mandal. I could have picked Adil, could have picked Amarjeet, but I picked them on the new signing part. Hira Mandal is also new signing, but I picked up the key player to watch out for, because if he plays 4-4-2 diamond, the left back and the right back need to provide the attacking return, attacking threat on the wings. And Hira Mandal has everything in him to do so. He has returned to East Bengal and will be their first choice left back. He's played for Mohammedan Sporting last season in I-League. And last season in I-League, he impressed everybody with his performance, and he played 18 games in the I-League, scored 3, assisted 2 for Black Panthers, which is a good return for a left back. I'm not saying that he's going to do similar in the ISL, but if he can do anything, even if say 1 or 2 goal or 1 or 2 assists, that will be a good return considering this is first season in ISL. I think he's an important player for them, and I'm looking forward to see that how he's going to do it. Let's talk about the young players to watch out for. I think I have not many options to pick there. Lowang is another good young player, which we love to see how he does it. But I think Amarjeet Singh Kiam, his career, I'm surprised that choices he have made in life till now. Did well one season with Jamshedpur, then didn't play much, then joined FC Goa. Now didn't get much playing time there, and in a short span of time he's back to East Bengal. Very important season for him. If he wants to retain his place in the national team, he needs to play regularly and needs to play very well for East Bengal. And that's tell you that he's still only 20. That's the thing. He's still only 20. Captain of India's FIFA Under-17 World Cup squad, and very unlucky with injuries also. But expectation was also very high for him, And if you compare with somebody like Apuya, who was not that main star of the team in Under-17 World Cup, he has done well, because he came. Apuya rise was also, you can see parallelly that the expectation was not as high from the other players from the Under-17 World Cup batch, and that's helped Apuya to do well. And now Apuya is one of the biggest star from the same batch. So I think let's see that how he does it. He did okay, decently in Champions League for FC Goa, but I think this loan move and this season is very important. The competition for places for national team is going to skyrocket, especially in that midfield area. If he wants to remain part of that squad, he needs to play well this season, play regularly. So I'm looking forward to see that how he does it. Second player on the list is Saurav Das. With number 6, I've selected most of in my formation till now. Saurav Das knows that what's to play for the big clubs. Already played for Mohun Bagan and East Bengal in past. And he was a crucial part of the Mohun Bagan team, which won the CFL and also represented Mariners in the I-League. So he has the experience to play at the good level, and he joined East Bengal last January from Mumbai City. And also in pre-season, he has done well for them. Also scored 1 goal against Salgaonkar, I'm told. He can create from deep, but I think if he play diamond, then his duty is to seal those defenders, not to score goals. So looking forward to both of these midfielders, how both of them do. There are other young players to watch out, but I think these two will have an important role to play for them. Now, let's talk about what to expect from East Bengal this season. I personally feel this squad is better than last season. Foreigners you can compare here and there, but overall the Indian players are a bit better. Still, the depth is an issue for them, if you ask me. But do they have a squad to challenge for somebody like Mumbai City FC, ATK Mohun Bagan, or FC Goa Bengaluru FC? No. But can they surprise them? Yes, because any given day, if there's somebody like Daniel Chima, Perasovic, or Seprovic, even Amarjeet Singh Kiam or Jackie Chand Singh, they are very good players. And they came in part of any ISL sides, so they can surprise them. And the coach have already spoken about that, taking it by match instead of thinking about full season. And I think for East Bengal it does make sense, considering they started the preparation very late, unlike other club. And like most of the club in ISL, they will try to look for the top 4 finishes. But I think this is the season. First, on field doesn't matter if you ask me. They need to sort out the future off the field first, and then hope that the on-field Manilo Diaz does well. Even if he doesn't do well, even say it mid-table finish, and that should be good enough for them to continue with him next season, continue the core of this squad next season, and then challenge for the top 4 spaces. Any club in ISL, if you go throughout the history, who has been part of playoff race throughout those 7-8 years, Bengaluru, FC Goa, HK Mohun Bagan, or Mumbai City FC recently, is because, or Chennai FC even, is because they have a stable squad. That they don't chop and change their squad every season. And clubs who does that, they are not part of those playoff races regularly. So I think for them this season, getting that off-season stability is more important than getting that performance on pitch. And this also, just like in case of Apuya, I told expectation was not high from him when he was playing under 17 World Cup, and then he graduated to the club side. Unlike the Amarjeet and Jixons and Rahul KP and Komal Thatal and Boris Singh, Dheeraj, from them fans were expecting a lot. They were linked with the European clubs. So just like that, East Bengal, SC East Bengal, they're not lots of expectation from their fans this season, considering they made the squad very late. And this might work in their favor, if you ask me. When there's less pressure, player goes freely, they play their football, what they want to do on the pitch, and this might work on their favor. Now let's talk about the weakness. Weakness, I think straight away, the depth on the various positions, especially the fullback position, on the wingers position looks concerning for me. Also, injuries to key players. Is a short season, they have to manage their squad very well, rotate it whenever it is possible. Just having one creative midfielder, that might be another lack of concern for them. Having a lack of playmaker in the team, just having one, I think it's concern for me. But let's see if coach can implement his tactics properly. I think that can be managed away using the tactics. Also, they have Balwant Singh in the squad, who is 34. And other than the 2 foreigners, their squad looks like they have attacking player Norem Roshan and Shamburg Haukip. Haukip has done well whenever he got chances, but still is not that prolific goal scorer which we know about. So they lack that. Shubho Ghosh is named in the squad, but I'm told that he's left the bubble already. So that's also another concern. So he cannot join before, if there are any injuries and all. I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. So I think with hoping that most of the East Bengal fan is not expecting a lot from them, if they come in the mid-table, better than what they did last season on the 9th position, it will be a good season for them. But I think, as I said, getting performance on pitch should be secondary for them. Securing their future, stabilizing club from outside is more important for them. Then they can build on the success from this season on field, because they need to build on that. They can't just have a unsecure future and then at the last moment get a particular investors or chief ministers intervene and ask the investors to play. And because the investors have already said they are not thinking about the next season, they have just promised for this season to the chief minister of West Bengal. So I think they need to manage that well, and let's see. I think they will surprise some team with their performance, which they did last season also. So I'm looking forward to see that how these foreigners do. I really like the profile of the foreigners. I will not say they're top foreigner, but they're good profile for the ISL, and they might make a good impact. The Indian players need to play the supporting role accordingly. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you like the video for the SC East Bengal tactical profile. If you have any suggestion regarding the video format, anything which you want to add from our side, you want to remove, you can let us in the comment section. Let me know what do you think about East Bengal side, their foreigners, their coach, their formation, and how do you think that they will do this season in the Indian Super League? Do you think that they have in themselves to challenge for those playoff places? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.